Hi guys, welcome to your floor meeting. This year we're going to be doing it via video, so stay tuned. We're going to be talking about all the things you need to know about living on campus, as well as new protocols for COVID. Also, Miso says hi. This is our 10th take. Okay. All right, so let's get started and going over some of the protocol that's going to be applied to you guys while you're living here on campus. Okay, so first thing I'll talk about is quiet hours. So quiet hours last from 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. and that's from Saturday through Thursday, okay? On Friday through Saturday, it's from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., okay? So quiet hours is essentially just like the time on campus when things should be quiet, not too loud, so you're not allowed to bump super loud music or play crazy loud video games. Those are the times that people are typically sleeping, so just be courteous of that. And yeah, so quiet hours are those times I mentioned. So anything outside of those quiet hours, those are courtesy hours. So courtesy hours are just like essentially implied, right? So just be courteous to the people who are living around you. Clearly we're all living essentially in the same space, so it'll just make sense for you guys just to be courteous and kind and not be crazy loud, especially if other people are doing stuff, and especially we're in an academic environment, so let's not make it super hard to focus. Okay, so next thing we'll talk about is the alcohol and the drug policy. So I'm sure you guys are familiar that SEMO is a dry campus, which means that no drugs or alcohol is allowed on campus. So that's just like no argument, like that's just a flat out no. So please, 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 please don't make it my problem and bring drugs and alcohol onto campus. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it. Okay. Next, we'll talk about candles and incense. So obviously candles and incense are no longer allowed on campus. Candles, like candle warmers are allowed, like just the wax, like warmers are allowed, but you're not allowed to burn like an actual candle. And even just having them is a violation. So please don't have candles in the dorms. It's a fire hazard, and God forbid this place catches on fire, we're all going to be in trouble. Okay, so don't bring fire hazards to campus, and don't bring your candles or your incense. Okay, so as well as being a dry campus, we are also a smoke-free campus. So that means no tobacco whatsoever on campus. This also includes like Juuls and vapes and stuff like that. So if you are a smoker, you'll have to do that off campus. If you're caught with it, you may be sent through student conduct. So just a heed of warning, keep that stuff off campus. Okay, so now we're on the lounge and the room policy, and I really want you guys to listen up because it's kind of been an issue already. All of your furniture, unless previously spoken with me or another RA, needs to be kept in your room. I know one of the residents I've talked to brought it up that last year you guys were allowed to keep things in the hallways, like your desk or your bedpost and stuff like that, or your desk in the hallway. That is no longer allowed, okay? So we're cracking down on that. Please, please, please keep all your furniture in your room. If you don't like it or if it's bothering you, I can help you try and figure out where to put it, but it has to be in your room. So there's no question about that, okay? All right, moving on to fire alarms. This is another thing that happens pretty frequently on campus. So one thing that I want to share is don't leave a bunch of stuff in the microwave to cook forever and let it catch on fire. That's the main reason why the fire alarms go off here. The smoke detectors here on campus are super sensitive. There's one right there. That is like a particle sensor. So like even vapes can set it off, excessive steam can set it off, but especially a fire will set it off. So please don't burn anything in your room clearly, and don't like I said, don't burn those candles or anything that's going to set off those sensor alarms like up on the roof. If there is a fire alarm, if there's a fire alarm, you guys are going to need to go out this side door, like the door that leads directly outside on our floor, and head up those stairs up into Kent's parking lot. So that's going to be where we head when there's a fire alarm. Okay, so here's some kind of changes going on due to COVID-19, so please listen up. Students are only limited to one guest at a time, so one person can have one person over, that's it. Does that make sense? All guests must leave by 11 p.m. each night, and no overnight guests are allowed. So boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends, people coming to stay with you, that's just not going to be a realistic thing this year. We're trying to keep people safe, and having a bunch of people sleeping over in the dorms constantly is just a breeding grounds for COVID. So no one's allowed to sleep over. And also, if one of your roommates is uncomfortable with a guest being in the room, then no guests are allowed, and that's their call. So please be respectful of your roommates. If they're saying they're uncomfortable with whoever coming over, you'll have to heed that. I know that may be difficult, and you guys can come to me and talk to me about any situations that may arise, but just as a protocol, if your roommate's uncomfortable, then it's just not going to be a possibility. Let's see. So room changes. So no room changes will be approved for at least the first 4 weeks of the semester. So the first month of the semester, no one will be allowed to change rooms. Okay. So if you do not have a roommate and you are not in a like private room, you could receive a roommate at any point. So please don't like put all your stuff all over the room or anything like that. Cause you could get a roommate and then you have to scram and take all your stuff out of their drawers and stuff like that. And you also need to be prepared to have a roommate. So don't make like a mega bed with the 2 beds pushed together, or don't make like a mega desk. You know what I mean? Be prepared to have a completely new person move in. Okay. So here is more COVID protocol. So anytime you leave your room, you have to be wearing a mask, okay? So a lot of you guys have been following that warning and doing great, and I appreciate that. I know it's annoying, and I feel like it's more of a problem with the older generation. I feel like us younger people get it. Just put on the mask, wear it on campus, keep yourself and other people safe. So no one should be having large gatherings or having parties in the dorms. That's just kind of a given right now with everything going on. Make sure that you maintain a proper social distancing that's 6 feet away from other people. It's wise to disinfect and clean up after yourself as well while you're going throughout the dorms, just in case someone is COVID positive and is touching everything, you could catch it. If you guys have any questions about the COVID protocol for this year, there is a document called Protect the Nest, and that has all of the policies and information you may need about COVID and the university's conduct. So if you have any questions, you can always ask me, but that would be the first place I'd send you because it has everything on there. So let's talk about communication and respect while we're living together here on my floor. If you are having problems with your roommate or certain things are rising up, which they always do because we're humans, make sure that you are communicating with your roommate, your suite mates, or your floor mates, or me, or somebody. You know, if you're really struggling and something's going on, don't put yourself through that. You know, I'm here to help. Other RAs are here to help, and I'm sure your roommate doesn't want you struggling either. So let's all, you know, come together. I can mediate the conversation if something serious is going on, but don't suffer in silence if something is happening, and don't talk to everybody else but the person who needs to hear it if something's going on, because I see a lot of that as well. Like anything like a disagreement, noise violations, personal space, or property issues, bring them to me if you're having a hard time having those conversations with your roommate. We can all sit down and we can make things easier for everybody. Okay, so roommate and suite mate agreements. We talked about this a little bit in the group me. I sent those links, didn't work. Okay, whatever. We're working on getting like an office, like, I don't know what it's called. Like, it's like an Office 360 document that you fill out for the roommate and suite mate agreement. So please stay tuned for that. I know I've been saying stay tuned, but those are coming. We've had some technical difficulties with them, but you guys will be receiving those within the next week or so. So start those conversations early. You know, talk to your roommate about any issues that may be already arising or any issues that they've had previously, and just kind of start those lines of communications before you even get the policy. So that way or before you even get like the form. So it's that easier to fill out, you know? Okay, so let's talk about the customer service desk. The customer service desk is, I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's right there on the 3rd floor at the main entrance and exit of the building. That is where you can ask questions involving campus life. You can pick up your mail and packages. For mail and packages this year, they are sending an email to your student email. So if you are expecting a package, check your email because it should be in there. All the RAs send out those emails, so it should be there if you are curious about a package. To open up your mailbox, just use your room key. It's the key you use to get into your room in the building. And your mailbox are numbered with your room number. So just look for your room number, use your room key, and it should get you access to your mailbox. This year, we're changing the desk services a little bit, so absolutely nothing is available for checkout this year. In previous years, they had several things that you could check out, like games and different kitchen utensils, but those are no longer available this year just because it's just too much of a hassle to sanitize and work with things with this COVID life we're living. So we're not allowed to give out change this year at the desk, so just keep that in mind. You're basically only getting your packages and your mails from the desk this year. And if you guys have any questions about that, go ahead and email me or group me or whatever you guys need. Let's see. Almost done. So you were given a room key, like I talked about. You are responsible for those keys. So if you lose them, that's going to be a $90 fee on your student account. So if I were you, I would double lock down those keys. Zoe 101 it, slap it on the necklace, do something. Make sure that you are not going to lose that because it is a pretty hefty fine in my opinion. If you are locked out of your room, the first lockout is free. So if you're locked out, go up to the desk. And if the desk is closed, call the Myers duty phone. On one of the boards I put up in our hallway, there's a phone number for the duty phone. So call the duty phone if you're locked out of your room after Myers desk is closed. And so, like I said, the first lockout's free. The second lockout is $10. The third lockout is $15. The fourth lockout is $20. And any other lockout besides the fourth is going to be $20. Okay. Yeah. So for the lockout procedure, you kind of get you will understand this more if you actually have a lockout, but you'll just essentially get a temporary key to open your room that you'll have to return in 24 hours. All right. Last little bit of information. Okay. So, for the laundry room, you have to use an HE detergent. Most of you guys know that. Most detergents nowadays are like that. Just make sure it says HE on the bottle. Okay. And make sure to read flyers. I know there's a bunch of them on my floor, but read them because they all have information on there that you guys need to know about. Let's see, a little bit more information. So we have a program here called HRA. That is the Residence Hall Association. Those are like the student voice of those living in the halls. It gives you a great leadership opportunity, and there's flyers and stuff up that tell you a little bit about HRA and how to get involved. So that's another great thing you guys can do if you're trying to get more involved on campus. Let's see. Don't mess with my bulletin boards. I spent a lot of time on that one, and the one I have of me and the one I have of all the information. So please don't rip them down. I spent my real money on that, and I would be bummed. So please don't do that. Okay. So we will have a programming idea. Programming is in like an activity for the whole floor every month. So for August, this is our programming, which is kind of sad, but in September we'll have like a separate, way more fun programming thing. So you guys can listen to that, or wait for that and get involved that way. Let's see, parking. So please don't park in Kent Library parking lot. I know that's like the common spot where people want to park because it's so convenient, but ticketing will start, or has already started. So if I were you, I would not park there. I was a freshman in Myers a long time ago, and I would park there constantly. And guess what? I got like a $200 worth of tickets. It's not worth it. And there are several places to park off campus if you're really that desperate, or you can buy a parking pass, which would be safer for you to have your car on campus and not at the risk of getting attacked by townies. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the room condition reports. So those are those blue forms that you guys probably saw on your sink. That just tells us the condition of the room while you guys, like when you guys first got there. It just tells us like what was broken, what issues you may have had that are outside of you know what I mean? So like things that you didn't cause, that you moved into. That way we can keep track of the rooms and see if this damage was caused at the end of the year, whether or not it was there before you lived there. Okay, so please fill those out. I'm going to be on everybody's ass about turning those in because I need to have those in before you live there for a long time. So if I don't get to you by your room report, please turn them in because it makes my life easier. Okay, last little bit of information, guys. Okay, so for the elevator, please be responsible. I mean, I'm going to tell a quick story, but back when I was living in Towers, one of the Towers elevators got stopped because a bunch of guys in there decided to just jump all at once and they broke the elevator. So don't be like those guys. Please just be respectful of the elevator because that's a main staple in Myers. You know, a person who is disabled or anything won't have access to their room if you break the elevator. So just be respectful. If it breaks on accident, that's one thing, but don't try and break it because people, believe it or not, do that. You guys saw my duty board that I mentioned earlier. It's on that side of you wouldn't know what side, but it's towards the staircase side of the hall. It has all the information. It has our, hall director. Her name's Jackie. She's very nice. So, you guys most likely won't be in contact with her. Usually you'll talk to me and then I'll talk to her, but she's on there in case you do need to talk to her. We have the Myers duty phone. So like I said, that's the phone that you call if you're having an emergency, if anything's going on, if you're locked out of your room after hours, that kind of thing. That's what the duty phone is for. So those are posted up on my bulletin board. So please go take a look at that and familiarize yourself with those numbers so that you can, have access to them if you need them. So Jackie's office is like right behind the Myers desk. There's a separate room back there. So if you need to talk to Jackie, she's usually not in there. So I would say just, use that phone number that's on the bulletin board. But if you need to know where her office is, that's where it is. It's behind the Myers desk in a separate room. And yeah, that's it. It wasn't too much, right? Thank you guys for listening. I can't believe it. If you listened this far, you deserve a cookie. And, if you listened this far, go in the group me and type Myers 41 rocks. And I will know that you actually watched it. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.